Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about how you can time a +10 Necrotic Wake without any meta specs. What I'm talking about is, as you can see in my party, I have an Evoker and a Shadow Priest, and the Evoker is not even augmentation, it's a Destruction Evoker, and we're going to see how I managed to time this almost a +2 actually, but we've made some mistakes. But it was pretty easy, and the main thing that I want to show you actually is how we've killed the third boss, which was a very good job actually. And I decided to skip the first room with the first boss actually, because let's be honest, if you're not killing that boss, then you are not doing that dungeon. If you die in the first room, the first boss is so easy. I think everybody knows what to do and how to counter it. So for this week we have a new affix that you can just cleanse with these spells. So as you can see here, I did take that into account, and I brought a priest and a shaman. So now we have like 2 party full dispels, which can help us. But as you can see, these classes are not meta specs, especially the Shadow Priest and the Destruction Evoker. But these guys right here are bugs, so I don't know these guys actually, and I did manage to complete this key pretty easily. Let's talk about what you can do to do that as well. So for this pack there is not much that I can say. Basically here you have to go out of the party with the Grim Fate, try to use a defensive as well, and try to interrupt these mobs, especially the sorcerers, if you have the interrupts. Also because we had a Shadow Priest and he has an interrupt that has 45-minute cooldown, and an Evoker, I decided to get a Shaman that can help us with the interrupts. As you know, Shaman healers can also interrupt on a 12-second cooldown. So now we get the second orb. Usually tanks do that, and tanks know how to use these orbs, but you want to use them when you have big pools. One thing I want to say about the first room is that we decided to not kill any gatekeepers, even though it's not that hard if you have a good healer and you bloodlust with a evoker right there. But for this run we decided not to do it, just because it's a bit harder and it's not worth the risk. This is still a +10, it's not a +11 or any other of those higher keys. So for a +10 you can do a different route, I should say. Maybe it works in a +11 or +12, since those gatekeepers really hit very hard. But for now we decided not to do that. On these marauders, just remember that you can't stay in front of them, only the tank has to tank them. If you stay in front of them, they will cleave you and you will die. As for the necromancer, I suggest you really focus him, and the mages, you have to interrupt them on their frostbolt volley. That's very important because it will do a lot of party damage. So the frostbolt volley, as you can see, if it's not interrupted, it will actually hit every and each of one of you. So that is a very important thing, just to help your healers. Of course, this healer that I had did a great job interrupting those as well, and you should focus your the necromancer and kill him as fast as possible, because he will start summoning a lot of mobs. And I suggest that, of course, you can use most of your AoE abilities, but as a Retri Paladin here, I prefer to use Templar's Verdicts instead of Divine Storms. I'm going to use Divine Storms only if I get a proc, just to kill the Necromancer faster, because as you can see, these Necromancers die and all the other mobs die with it. That's why we want to focus that Necromancer down as fast as possible. Right here we have another pack with a Marauder and a Sorcerer. It's a bit tough, that Sorcerer was a bit far behind, but we managed to pull them together and now kill them. It's very important to interrupt the Marauder's fear, just so you know, because then he will fear all of your party. Maybe if you have some range, they will be out of the fear, and that's fine. but especially if you are playing with a melee party, or just because you don't want your tank to be feared, of course, and die, you should interrupt that as fast as possible. Here the tank did a mistake. He actually pulled the Marauder to the priest and he got cleaved, but that's no problem. We just have 2 deaths. 2 deaths are allowed actually in a +10, even more if you know what you're doing, and you will see if you know how to do that third boss. I know that third boss is so hard for everyone right now, and it's a party killer, I should say. These bone carvers, they don't really have a lot of things that they do. They basically put a debuff on the tank and you have to keep him tapped. As you can see, I have aggro on this corpse, but I think I managed to kite him away and just we killed him. The tank could have taunted here, but I think it's fine that we lived and I can just kite him, so it's no problem. So yeah, as I said, bone carvers, they basically just do a debuff on the tank, so you have to keep that in mind. Try to use defensive healers, try to use some cooldowns on your tank if you have, like if you are a priest or a druid, I should say, you can use iron bark and stuff like that. Also, the bone menders have to be interrupted because they do a heal, so it's very important to focus them and kill them as fast as possible, because you don't want them to heal the other mobs, and that will just make your job much harder when killing these packs. The monstrosity, guys, this guy is just a waste of time, I should say. It doesn't really do anything special here. Just does this AoE. If you are ranged, you don't even need to think about it. You just stay out of it and that's it. And then he summons these ice spikes from the ground. They will one-shot you if you don't move away, so please take care and don't stay in them. I must say, this guy, he looks nice. He looks I love the model that it has, especially the weapon that it wields. But besides from that, there's not much that this guy can do. I mean, it's very easy to just kill it, and yeah, it should be no problem for everyone. And now we have another issue that we got here. So as you can see, my evoker has the orb, but he also takes the spear, and this is a bit of a trouble. We didn't know actually that if you have the spear, you have to use that first and then the orb. So yeah, that's the problem. And now we get to the second boss. Second boss, just use your interrupts on a cooldown, I should say, if you can. Necrotic bolts always have to be interrupted, and if you see now, the monk actually incapacitated that mage, and you might have the feeling that it will explode, because the next spell that he does, this boss, I will just tell you right away, from the necrotic breath, you just have to run away from it. So I thought that it is going to explode as well, but actually, because it's incapacitated, the final harvest, so this spell, if there are any adds remaining that you did not kill, they will explode and do a lot of party damage. But for now, it seems that the incapacitate works and it actually does not do any damage to us. Maybe it was because they were far away, I don't know. But yeah, I think that's a good thing to know if you have a monk in your team as well. So this is basically the second boss. Not too hard, I should say. You can always tank it at near that wall on the right, just so the adds spawn a little bit closer to you. But I think we did a fine job here to kill the adds and of course kill this boss. Remember, even though there are no adds to explode, if you stay on those green things on the ground, on those green puddles on the ground when he does the explosion, you will still die. And also, do not stay where the mobs are spawning. So right here, it's the chamber of death, I should say. People really don't like this this boss, from what I hear. And also, I've missed a lot of keys, I should say, or not made it in time, just because of this room right here and the boss, of course. But I think I have a pretty good example on how you can do it very easy, guys. So for our first pull, we almost pulled the whole thing, but the evoker typed in time and the monk just incapacitated those mobs so he wouldn't pull them. That was a bit of a lucky shot, I should say, just because he cannot use the orb here, which is a problem. You cannot do any big pulls if you don't have the orb, or if you don't use like a bloodlust or something, but it's not something that we should do in this phase, just because you want to keep that bloodlust for the actual boss. As you can see here, I almost died, but I managed to pull a divine shield in time, and now we are just doing damage. As for the collectors, guys, you really have to interrupt them, stun them, whatever. Collectors and the crafters are the mobs here that you want to focus and kill as fast as possible. Actually, our tank got hit so hard here, I don't know what happened, but I managed to revive him, but he took a release just before I did that. But still, I think I survived here, yeah, with a lay on hands, sorry. And then we've managed to kill the rest just before the tank arrived. This soldier, I've killed it just in time, and now I don't have any aggro on any of them. I'm trying to focus the collector here just so he dies, so he doesn't cast any other shit. The tank is back and we are fine. So just for that, for now, I think we can still make it in time, and now you will see what I'm talking about the boss. But we still have a couple of ads that we have to talk about, that you have to keep in mind on how to do them. For the crafter, the tank will just pull them. Just do not try to damage that crafter, just leave it, and he will come to us. If you take aggro, it's going to be a problem for the tank, of course, so you should just focus on the Stitchwork pack, I should say. Stitchwork, right? Yes, I think that's his name. And here with these hooks, you always want to point them at the other mobs, guys, just because they do so much damage to the mobs, and if they hit you, you'll most likely be dead, because it does a lot of damage. And this is very important on the next pack that you will see. There are two mini bosses, one that targets a player and you have to run away from him because he will just one-shot you, and the other one, he is a caster and you have to interrupt, but we will see in just a second right here. I'm hovering above the spear just because I wanted to see what exactly it does. You see right here the hooks, how much damage did to each other. So yes, these mobs also hook, and you have to point them towards one another, just because you will just kill them faster, guys, way faster. As you can see, we've tried here, I mean the evoker tried here to hook again. I don't think it worked. Oh yeah, maybe, I don't know, just because it might have been a little bit too far, but I think these assistants died pretty quickly. As you can see, my damage is insane in these dungeons. Since we've got the Templar build back, I think I've been enjoying my Paladin way more, just because I really did enjoy my Paladin when I was leveling up with the Templar build. I find it way more fun than the Herald of the Sun, just because of the animations. I don't know, I think a Templar Paladin is a nicer fantasy for me than the Herald of the Sun Paladin. As for Gore Grind, guys, this is one of the packs that just spawns just before the boss. There are two packs, one is the Gore Grind pack and the other I don't remember the name exactly, but we will see in a second. Gore Grind actually does a frontal, which you have to move away from it, and he does a lot of damage to the tank once in a while with a spell. I don't really know what the spell is called, but it's something. Oh yeah, tenderize this spell. So if you are playing a tank, just remember to use your defensives when you see tenderize being cast. Gore Grind is down. And oh yeah, Rot Spew is a bit harder, I should say, just because he has a unholy aura, or a pestilence aura, I should say, around him. And if you are in melee range of him, he will just do a lot of damage to you. Right here is pretty good if you have those tanks. I had to bubble here just because I could not get out in time. If you stay 2 seconds, I should say, in that disease that he casts, you will just die. Sometimes you can die just from the first disease, so that's why healers really need to pay attention to this cast, just because it does so much damage. I got it again now, and I keep moving. As you can see, I barely survived, but if I was not moving, I would have died in an instant, guys. So Rot Spew is, I think, a pretty hard add, especially on those highest keys, but if you keep the things that I said in mind, I think it should be an easy kill. And now let's get to the boss, guys. You will see how we did this boss. We did it perfectly. So I know it's a I know you want to use your cooldowns here, but please keep it, guys. Please keep all the cooldowns, and when he comes down after the hook, just use everything that you have there. It's pretty easy, you will see. So the evoker hooks the boss right now, and we go with the spears, with everything that we've got. And you will see here how much damage we are actually doing. This is actually the first time that I've done this on the first hook, which is actually crazy, and without some meta specs, guys. Remember, Devastation Invoker and Shadow Priest, no augmentation, no mage, and no DK in this party, as you can see. So we just one-shotted this boss just like that. That's all that you have to do, guys. Keep everything that you have, or when the boss goes down. As you can see, this Shadow Priest did almost 3 million damage on that boss. I think they got some insane buffs. I'm really thinking of making a Shadow Priest ult right now, but I just wanna get into those first 100 World Retribution Paladins, and then we can talk about an ult. Right now I'm in the first 100 Paladins on my server, which is Kazakh EU. So if you want to check me out, just leave a like, subscribe. I will do more of those, or more of these guides. If you like them, I will do more. But now let's talk about Rime Binder. This boss, he has a few mechanics. One of it is what you're seeing right now. He basically does a blizzard on all the players that follows you, so you have to keep moving. If you stay in one of those, you will die in a second. Also, icy shards on the tank. You will see how hard it is for the tank to be topped in this fight. It's a boss that does a lot of damage, actually. Rime Binder on the tank. And also he does an exile, so basically he exiles you downstairs, and you have to go and fight a mob, and you have to kill it fast, because if you die there, then I mean you just die, and you come back up and people can raise you. But it's very important to come back as fast as possible, just because you want to do damage on the boss as fast as possible. And also, when you come up after you are killing the mob, when you come up, he will leave a debuff on you. As you can see on the left side of the screen, there is some ice stuff. You want to put that right on the edge, just because you can easily actually fill up the room with the ice stuff, and we will have nowhere to go. And as I said before, that blizzard thing is very annoying, and you need to have room to move and dodge it. As you can see, my priest died here, but I think I managed to revive him just in time. Yes. And also another thing that it does is frozen binds, guys. With frozen binds, he puts a bind on a player that and he gets snared. You have to dispel that buff, but just be careful, because if you dispel it in the party, everyone will get snared and a lot of damage will be done to the party. So you need to take care of that. Just run away with the binds so you can get this spell outside of your party. Besides, this is not that hard of a boss, I should say, but it just has a lot of mechanics that you have to keep in mind. And that's it, guys. You see, easy +10 Necrotic Wake key. I didn't get any loot, but I don't really have any loot to get from here. I just wanted to up my key so I can do a +11 and more. And that is basically it. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, consider subscribing and throwing a like. Thank you very much.